Hey guys, welcome to this video where we dive deep into most mistakes junior UI/UX designers make when they are designing. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the use of squares to design instead of using auto layout. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you want to recreate a hero section like this, what a junior designer is going to do, one of the mistakes they make is to use square for this section. So they will come and draw a square like this. So when they draw a square like this, then they will start dumping elements on the screen, like start arranging things manually this way. They'll start adding image, just dumping things on the screen. So this method is very wrong, because when your design is to be translated, like when your design is to be coded by a developer, is going to give the developer a lot of work, because the developer is not going to know the padding, is not going to know the spacing that is going to be used. So the developer will basically be cracking he or her head to like translate your work, and that's not really a nice way of like being a professional. So the best way to do this instead of using square is to use a frame. So here, this is my desktop frame. You can see 1440 by 4144. I extended the height. So now I want to design a hero section. So instead of me to start using square, what I'm going to do is to make use of a frame. So I'll come here and drag a frame inside my desktop frame. So before I start placing my elements like my text, buttons and navigation, I'll first of all convert this frame to an auto layout. And how I can do that is by right clicking on the frame and convert it to an auto layout, or add an auto layout to this frame. So when I add an auto layout, I'm going to define the horizontal padding and the vertical padding of this particular design here. So for this horizontal padding, which is the spacing that is going to be by the side, I'm going to make it 56. So why I gave that 56 was because you can see here, you can see my grid. So I'm making use of a 12 column grid where the rows are 12, the margin is 56 and the gutter is 24. So this margin here, which is 56 rather, I'm going to define it in the auto layer that is added to this frame, so that any element I'm going to be placing here is going to respect that spacing that was already created by my grid. So instead of me to be manually placing it at the edge, because most times without doing it this way, you have to like start adjusting it and making sure it's at the top of the grid. Why that is right, there is also an excellent way of doing things, in the sense that once you place your text here, it will just snap on top here automatically, because a space is already defined, so the elements will not pass this spacing, so making things more easier. So we'll start placing things in a bit. So the next thing now is to define my vertical padding. So for the top here, for this vertical padding here, which is the padding at the top and bottom, I'm going to make it 0.56. So Figma is going to understand and know that the top, I'm not going to add any padding at the top, but the bottom there's going to be 56. Why I'm making it 0 is because of the nav bar that I'm going to be placing here. So this is the best way to like create your hero section. And mind you, when designing a landing page like this, you need to make sure you break each section. You can see here, let me turn off the grid so that you understand what I'm trying to explain. So as you can see here, this landing page here that I designed, it have different section. Here is the hero section, here is the future section. So we also have another section here, why the brand is unique. We have here different schools location, because this landing page is for an edutech brand. So we also have here's like a testimonial section, where if they hover on this, the name of the student and their testimony is going to come out. So I'll do another video showing you the animation that I created for this page. So here is the founder's notes, the owner of the school giving a statement. Then here, like a CTA call to action. Here, the courses at the school offer and here like blog. So you can see that each of these sections, they are seated inside a frame. They have their own section, so they are not just dumped inside the main desktop frame. So if you have more questions, you can always ask. So instead of me dumping things on the main desktop frame, just like some mistakes that the junior designer might do, instead of just dumping this, you need to make sure that each section is being named and like it has its own section, then being placed inside the main desktop frame, so making it very easy and so that the developer can also know what each section means. Because as you see, like what I did here, each section is being named, so I named every section here. So another mistake is most junior designers, they don't like naming their frames that they use or their sections. So it's very, very important, because your design is like a roadmap that is going to help the developers to know how to like structure their coded work. So let's go ahead and place elements inside this frame here, so that you know how to make use of it. So I will just go over here and duplicate what I have here. So I'm going to duplicate this nav bar. So even this navigation that I designed, it was also seated inside its own frame. So we'll talk more about the box model as we move on, so that we understand why this is seated in its own frame. So this is seated in its own frame inside an auto layout tool, for me to be able to place all the contents here, not just placing and manually start adjusting it. Everything has its own auto layout. So you can see here, this is a frame converted to an auto layout. So we'll talk more about the box model, because that's another important thing junior designers need to know whenever they are designing. So here for this section here, so before I place this nav bar, so if you want to know if you have any question, you can always leave a comment in the comment section. I'm always happy to reply your comments. So for this section, before I place this nav bar, what I'm going to do now is to come to this place. So you can see here we have hog content, fixed width. Most time we also have fill container. So for this place, I want to make sure that the height and the width of this section is fixed. Why I'm doing so is because if I don't define fixed width for the horizontal part and fixed width for the vertical part, once I place, let me give this hero section a different color so that you understand what I'm trying to do. So now this is the color. So if I don't give it fixed width, so once I place this nav bar inside, so you can see this hero section is now small. So that's why I want to define the width and height first before placing any element, so that it will not just hog this content. What hog container does is to hog the content that is inside it. So this frame, the parent container, automatically take this the size of the content. So as we move on, you understand better. So let me make this fixed width, make this fixed height, then I'll place this, I'll just drag this inside and it will be placed automatically. So let me do a few adjustments here. So yeah, so I just came here and make sure it's center. So as you can see, my nav bar is centralized. So there is another one, so which is the text here. So this text is also in its own container. So we're also going to talk more about flexbox too, because that's another terminology junior designers need to know. So this is seated in its own container inside an auto layout. So what I mean by container is that all these texts, they are merged together with auto layout. This is like an arrow that helps the user to navigate, so like a carousel arrow. So all these are inside its own auto layout. So I'd not just use group. I'd not use group because group is not really good in this kind of scenario. Group only comes in handy maybe if you are playing around with image outside maybe if you are trying to like adjust an image, it can be in this part or maybe outside another, if the frame or something, or you want to place it and you group it before bringing it here. But even when you group, you still need to make it a frame and turn it an auto layout. So that's very better that way, so that when a developer is translating your work, because the end goal of coming up with designs like this is for it to be coded, and doing it this way to make your work to come out well, because a developer is going to know the metrics. Because most times designers tend to forget that most of the things that I use in design here, all the spacing are being calculated, they are like mathematics. So me personally, when I'm designing, my spacing is always divisible by 8. I start with 8, 16, 24, so I keep on adding 8. 24 plus 8 is giving us 32. So that's what I basically use. So all my spacing uses that pattern. So some people use numbers that are divisible by 4 or 2. So it's up to you. So me, I have my own standard, which is 8, and it works for me too. So you can also adopt that in your own design. So this is in its own auto layout. I made all of them together. So I'm just going to drag this inside the frame, and you can see it's seated. So let me show you what just happened so that you follow along. Let me change the color. Let me see if I need to change the color so that you understand what's happening. So I know the color that I use here is looking like color riot, but I just want you to understand how to do this. So you can see this content that I just placing with the navbar, they are seated side by side. That's because I did not define the layouts here. So you can see here is vertical, here is horizontal. So right now it's currently in horizontal, so I'll change it to vertical. So when I'll come over here, so let me come here. So I'll just rename this to hero, just naming text. So I'll just press enter. So this nav header, the nav bar is currently at the bottom, so I'll just come over here and just drag it up, and you can see it has moved up. So now you can see that this navigation and this, they are merged together. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure I put a space between. So for the space between, I'm going to use 56. 56 is also divisible by by 8. So I'm going to use my auto layout and make sure it's aligned to the top left. So as you can see here, because of our grid, we don't need to manually use our hand and push it. So let's on our grid now. So you can see this is seated at the grid perfectly well. So let's fix this nav bar. So I think this nav bar has some issues, so let me fix it. Sorry, so just give me a sec. Okay, so we'll just leave it like this. So this is going to shift back when we have another content here. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to bring in this button here, looking for animation. This is like a button, so I'll just copy it from this design. So I'll copy it and add it inside here. So we're going to see what's going to happen in a bit. So as you can see here, this stuff I just added here is stacked on top of this text here. So what I'm going to do now to make sure they are seated side by side is to put these two in its own auto layout. So I'll click on this and click on this and right click, put it on auto layout. So since these are in auto layout, I cannot change the layout to this thing horizontal. So you can see this is now side by side. So I want this one to move this way and this one stays this way. So you can see the way I move it. Then I will increase the spacing. So I will increase the spacing till it touch on top of the grid. So you can see the way I'm placing things on top of the grid. I'm not just dumping things on the screen and like using my hands to like place it. Everything I'm doing here is auto layout. So this is how to like make a good hero section. So even when designing other section of the landing page, you make sure you make use of this method. This is a frame, you create an auto layout, and you make sure you place things that way. So I'm going to create another video to show you how I designed this landing page so that you get the full details on how to do it, because most times trying to make use of auto layout, fixed suite, hawk container, all those things, trying to like practice it at first can be very, very challenging. So this is like more or less like advanced auto layouts, but this is the professional way of doing things instead of making use of squares. So another thing now is whenever you want to design buttons, don't make use of squares when designing buttons. Nobody makes use of squares. Nobody makes use of squares anymore when designing buttons. So the best way to create a button is to use auto layout. So guys, auto layout is the new way of doing things. So me myself, I was always making this mistake, making use of squares to draw this, to draw that, not making use of frame, not making use of auto layout. With auto layout, you can achieve even an input field, even card with auto layout. So there is no need for you to start using square when you want to draft out your input field. When you want to create an input field, there is no need to use square. So let me just show you what I mean. So now I want to just create a simple button. So the first thing I'm going to do is to write a text. So I will just write a text, sign up now. So this text, the text size can be anything. So let me say I want to make my button text to be 16. So you have to make sure you're consistent with your text sizing too, but that's another important thing. So let me make the width medium. So here I'm making it 16 multiply. I want to give it a line height, so I'll make it 16 multiplied by 1.2 to get an accurate line height, so I can see the blue line has snapped to it. So now for me to create my button, I will right click and turn this to an auto layout, guys. This is very easy and it's even the best way of doing things, because when a developer wants to translate your buttons or want to code your buttons, they don't just use square. They will look like when a designer makes use of square and triangle to create things, and a developer is trying to translate it, is really a pain in the ass. Like, I have to explain it that way because it's really painful. Most junior designers, they don't know the kind of headache that they do give to developers, like, because their work, they don't use accurate spacing, they don't make use of auto layout. Flexbox is the no code way of Flexbox is actually auto layout, because Figma was created in a way that is like the no code of like front end development. So you can just use auto layout to create things. So when they are designing their own stuff, they'll make use of box model, they'll make use of Flexbox. So that's just the best way to like create things. So now back to the button. So let me just give this, okay, let me leave it as white. So here I've converted this to auto layout, so I'll give this a fill. So I'll make the fill this way. So this is an auto layout. So as you can see from here, this space between is not needed because we're not going to be adding any other element here. This is just only this text that is going to be here. So you can make your horizontal padding and vertical padding to be 8, depending on which number you are using, whether it's divisible by 2 or whatever. So me, I'm making use of 8 because it's very easy to code. So like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is corner radius. So I want to make the corner to be rounded. So I kind of feel I should give it a little bit of space by the side. So let me see 16 this way. So yeah, so I think giving it more breathing space by the side is okay this way. So yeah, this is just how to create your button. Even when creating input field, let's create that of an input field. So now an input field will always start with a text. So let's say we want to create an input field where we'll tell somebody to enter their email address. So we'll just write the text. So we'll just write the text, enter email address. So now I'm going to convert this to an auto layout. So now for this horizontal padding, so I can increase the padding by the right by making it, let me say, make it 56, just to extend this part. So you can always extend it. So 56 plus 8 is giving us 64. So let me add a little bit of fill color. So I just want it to be gray, so let me make this like a lighter shade of black. So here, okay, so we can make it rounded if we want. So this is like a simple input field. So this is like a very simple way. If you want to make your input field to have a borderline, you can just add a borderline. So let me shield this up. So I'm going to add a stroke to it. You can give it any color of your choice. So like this is the best way, even when creating card, make use of auto layout, guys. Like ever since I've been using this in my recent work for clients, it has really been coming out well. And doing work like this is going to avoid some kind of like back and forth. Some designers, when they create something, the developer will come back and be asking them, what spacing do you use here, what spacing do you use here? But with this, a developer can just use dev mode and they will know the spacing that was used. So we have come to the end of this section. So see you in the part 2, because there's a lot to talk about the mistakes that junior UI UX designers make. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. See you in my next video.